authentic to who we are, which is coming from a place of love.
Exactly. So the compassion is always, always a tool that you can have on your heart bag there. And when you're feeling whatever it is that is not love, go to that. Compassion to you. Compassion to me, my definition of compassion is surrender, is acceptance, is realizing that no
Yeah.
matter how bad things look, no matter how bad something that you said is, although you didn't mean it, something that somebody said to you and they didn't mean it, whatever it is, we can find a surrender in the compassion element. So it's really accepting, surrendering, and loving it. I want to give you a couple more tools for the mindset authenticity, though, that
Yes,
I like
please.
fragment, right? So I like a sequence of it. So on the mindset trigger of this authenticity. So it goes back to what we talked about prior on the first show. So identifying with a kind of authenticity will dictate what kind of triggers that you may allow to have. So triggers happen um, when we don't have defined boundaries. So yeah,
Yes.
that's a very
Yes.
interesting, boundaries. I love that topic. So, and let me give a quick example. So let's say that, at some point, a person will be deciding to become a baker and they open a bakery and they're so excited. But repeatedly, every time someone comes in, they criticize her baking. So immediately the person is going to start to believe on that programming if she or he does not have strong boundaries. So a person that will have strong boundaries in this simple example would be, well, I respect how you feel and I'm sorry, what would you like me to bake? I can certainly open up my menu and have some other items. Or the person may feel, wow, I only had 10 customers so far. Maybe the next 10 customers will love what I have created. Or this is a brand new business. Maybe I can get my recipes to a better place. So these are the difference about strong boundaries and not strong boundaries. So when you have strong boundaries, you're not going to buy into others' perceptions but yourself. You may take into consideration for your growth, but you're not going to have that other perception alter the strength of your own boundaries.
Good example. Really good example. Moving away from the baker that you want to be just because of, the reactions or the feedback you're getting from other people.
Yes, yes, indeed. Because nowadays, back in the days used to be easier to form boundaries and keep them. But nowadays, as we talked about before on the beginning of programming, we are literally, bombarded, right? There's an accumulation of programming. And
Yes.
and if it does not get along with your boundaries there and your boundaries are not strong, that's when we lose our authenticity.
So true. Oh, this is good.
Now, you may ask, what creates good boundaries? Right? Because boundaries, to me personally, I spend literally years on this topic of boundaries. And, a lot of people feel that they have very strong boundaries, right? That they are authentic, they know who they are. But the component before the boundaries is choices.
So, how do choices tie in to boundaries? Are you saying like choosing, okay, so I'm this baker and I am choosing to have my store at this location and to be open these days and these hours and serve these things? Is that what you mean by choices?
I love you. That will be a part of it. But truly, what I mean is the choices that you make will define your boundaries. And the choices truly come from your awareness, and your awareness come from your perception. So it isn't just one thing, right? So however I perceive is going to be what gives me awareness. And within that awareness, it will give me the power of choices.
Mm. So and I'm just trying to tie it into the example from what you just used so people can understand it. And we only have about a handful of minutes left there, but could you tie that into your example?
Absolutely. So the baker that we spoke about, the baker is already within boundaries, strong boundaries. Because
Mm-hmm.
in that example, the baker already made the choice to open the bakery to create whatever menu that that they created. So they have
Mm-hmm.
conviction within that choice, within that boundary. And that is why the baker then will not go immediately into fear when questioned their authenticity. They will go into love and acceptance and surrender because they already have gone through the process of identifying their perception, their awareness, their choices, and therefore their boundaries.
Yes, so they're grounded in who
They're
they are. They're being
grounded.
authentic to who they are.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly that. Otherwise, they would just want to close shop afterwards and close the door and cry and be so sad that no one is accepting what they have
Yeah.
created.
Yes, which unfortunately happens with many of us in different ways, right? So, being grounded and authentic in who you are allows for, I get an image of a tree, and it's like the tree can sway from side to side, but it's not actually moving its roots from where it stands.
Absolutely. And remember, it all comes from those initial triggers. So, all that we are, everything that we do, we are going to be triggered. So, having awareness that even that exists, that you are reacting because of something else within yourself, just having
Mm-hmm.
that awareness will absolutely facilitate the authenticity into love.
Mm, very good. Okay, Lilian, we've talked about quite a few different things here, and I just really appreciate you sharing the the knowledge and insight you have, but also the examples to help us understand. Are there any last minute thoughts that you feel compelled to share on this topic of authenticity being the new currency?
Absolutely. So always, always try to approach who you are, the actions that you do, the thoughts that you think, and everything to do with yourself with love and compassion. Try as much as you can to not victimize yourself in any way, shape, or form. Because the bottom line is, Jillian, none of us come with a manual. None of us truly know how to navigate. And we find golden nuggets. And then collectively, we share golden nuggets so we can facilitate each other's journey. So at the end of the day, we are all learning and we are all going to stumble. And the more tools that we have, it just makes all of it so much easier to be within love and light.
Which is authentically where we come from, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Lillian. This has been so incredibly amazing to be able to have this conversation, and I hope to have you back someday soon. I know you have a lot of different awesome things coming about as well, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely, Jillian. Yes, I'm reinventing myself a little bit and going into different platforms. So, absolutely, I'll be honored to come back. And I just want to make sure that everyone listening, know that I'm so very grateful for your time, for your energy, for your light, and that it's time to synergize. Jillian, a lot of us light workers have been going through a lot of dark night of the souls and a lot of discovering and
Yes.
shifting perception and so forth. So I believe it's time to synergize and always pay attention to your care, what is of love to you, of light to you that can transmute your
Mhm.
fear. And always, always make sure that you have defined boundaries so your triggers are lighter on you and you can learn from them and transmute all of it into love and light.
Yes, which is definitely why I would be honored to have you back so we could talk even more about these topics more in depth
Yes.
when you're ready. So the invitation is always open to you, beautiful Lillian. And for everybody out there listening, head over to my website if you want to learn more about me. You can find me at jillianbeth.love. And as always, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with Lilian and myself today, as my desire is for each and every one of you to be living your authentic self in your soul's purpose. Thank you, Lilian.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Light and love. Thank you.